Oh my god. Seriously? How many times do I have to say it? Refill my beer when my glass is empty. Oh no. The glass is broken. Kelly? Please clean this up quickly. Really? When will you ever grow up? It's madness. How can these people do such things so nonchalantly? My name is Kelly, a 26-year-old housewife. I've always been slow-witted. I realized I was a dropout the moment I entered elementary school. I was scolded a lot by teachers. Why can't you do such simple things? They'd ask. My parents weren't particularly enthusiastic about education, nor were they completely neglectful. When I did poorly on tests, they'd say, "Do better next time," and if it continued, they'd suggest, "Maybe you should go to tutoring." I tried tutoring once, but couldn't keep up with the fast pace of the lessons. Gradually, I started dreading it and began hanging out in parks instead. Soon, the tutoring center contacted my parents about my absence, and I had to quit. That's when I started to rebel. I gave up, thinking nothing mattered anymore, and fell in with a bad crowd. Middle school was the worst. I'd loiter around daily, experimenting with cigarettes and alcohol. I'd sneak out after my parents went to bed and return before they woke up. This lifestyle meant I couldn't pay attention in class. I was always asleep. I was essentially going to school just to eat the school lunch. Later, I got into a high school where you just had to write your name to be admitted, but I dropped out without any motivation to study. When I dropped out of high school, I had a huge fight with my parents and left home on bad terms. After that, I lived alone, working various part-time jobs. But working and living alone made me realize how much my parents had supported me. The household chores my mother did so effortlessly weren't so effortless, and my father's daily work wasn't either. I realized how pampered and lukewarm my life had been. Still, I was too proud, or maybe too embarrassed, to apologize to my parents. That's when I decided to change. I studied elementary and middle school subjects in my spare time. After 3 years, I passed the high school equivalency exam and got into a night course at a university. I barely made it, but I was overjoyed. It was a low-ranking university, but the fact that I, the former delinquent, could attend college was incredible. Though embarrassed, I sent a letter home without my address, just telling them I got into a night university. Later, I juggled daytime jobs and night classes. The night university had a diverse crowd. There were men in suits who came after work and elderly women who wanted to learn again. Interacting with them opened my mind to different perspectives, which I'm truly grateful for. Eventually, I graduated and got an office job at a small company. My old friends would be shocked to see how much my life had changed. Then came another turning point. Meeting Max. He was a senior colleague at my company and taught me the ropes when I joined. Gradually, we started dating after he asked me out for dinner. 3 years later, he proposed, and we got married. He wanted me to be a housewife, so I quit my job for marriage. I never imagined the rebellious girl I was would leave a job for marriage. I could only inform my parents about my marriage through a letter. I was still afraid they might not care about me after a fallout. After marriage, I moved in with my in-laws. My husband was the eldest son, and living with his parents was a given for him. I didn't have a bad impression of them when I met them, and I was a bit starved for family love, so I agreed to live with them without much thought. But that was the beginning of a nightmare. I found myself subjected to terrible mistreatment from my in-laws and husband. "Kelly, you're too slow with the cleaning. The bathroom, the garden weeding, do it all more briskly. Hey, I asked for some tea. What are you doing? Seriously. Hey, I prefer bread for breakfast. I want an omelet in the morning." The folks at my in-laws' house were utterly unreserved in their demands. Yet, I held a strange conviction that I had to be accepted by this family, this house, and I kept being overly submissive. But this only fueled their arrogance. "Kelly, give me a massage, would you?" "Nice. I'm next after her, then, after Dad, I guess I'll have one too." One person for 30 minutes, a total of an hour and a half of massage. Then, brewing tea and serving dessert for everyone, like a maid. Gradually, I began to suspect I was just being used. This led to more mistakes in my previously flawless housework, which the in-laws seized upon to berate me. Their bullying escalated, turning them into downright abusive people. Oh my god. Seriously? How many times do I have to say it? Refill my beer when my glass is empty. My husband slammed the table with such force that a glass fell at my feet. Oh no. The glass is broken. Kelly, clean this up quickly. Really? When will you ever grow up? It was madness. How could they be so nonchalant about such things? I had reached my limit. I wanted to go home. Where? To my mother's house. But I was scared. Would they accept me? Still, I decided I had to leave. Staying would drive me insane. Where are you going? Just leave her. She was disowned by her parents. She has nowhere to go but here. My husband said that, but I ignored him and left my in-laws' house. After about 10 years, I found myself in front of my parents' house. As I hesitated to press the doorbell, I heard a voice from behind. Kelly. It was my mother. Mom. The moment I saw her, I couldn't stop crying. My mother, tears in her eyes, hugged me. She let me into the house, where I met my father after a long time. Holding back tears, he said, "Welcome back." I was happy. My parents hadn't hated me. Even after I had left abruptly and we hadn't seen each other for 10 years, they welcomed me warmly. I awkwardly told them everything that had happened since I left. My parents praised me. "You've done well." They were happy about my letter too. Regarding the in-laws, they were furious as if it were their own plight. "Just divorce that man," they advised. Hours later, my husband called. "Where are you? Come back soon." I replied, "I'm at my parents' house. I won't return to yours. I want a divorce." He called, shouting incomprehensibly, but eventually agreed to come and discuss it. My parents said, "It's a good opportunity to meet face to face," so we decided to invite the in-laws to my parents' house. When my in-laws arrived, they hurled insults at me, but having reconciled with my own parents, my frailty was gone. In face, I said, "It's useless what you say. Please sign the divorce papers," and I stood firm. Eventually, my husband signed the papers with a click of his tongue. Finally, I was freed from that nightmare. Time flew, and it's been 5 years since the divorce. A lot has happened since then. On that day, a holiday, I was relaxing at my parents' home as usual. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Who could it be on a Saturday morning? I was closest to the front door, so I answered it. The doorbell rang again. Yes, I'm coming." What? To my surprise, standing there were my ex-husband and in-laws, whom I had parted ways with 5 years ago. "Why are you here? Hey, doing all right? You must be calm by now. I forgive you, so come back." "What? Are you kidding me?" My scream alerted my father, who came to see what was happening. He too was shocked to see my ex and his parents. My ex, smirking, said, "You must be living a lonely life. We'll take you back." And then, incredibly, my ex-father-in-law said, "Grandma needs care, so let's talk about the future." I laughed at their absurd statements. "Haha, no way. Why are you laughing? How dare you, a low-life woman." I was just wondering who's talking down to me. My ex thought he could dominate the conversation with his assertive tone, like when we lived together. But in these 5 years, I regained the spirit I had as a rebellious youth and had become a strong, unshakable woman. "Yeah, I'm talking to you, you abusive jerk." Nick. My boldness took them aback. Then my mother, startled by my voice, came over. "Kelly, keep it down. You woke the baby." "No, sorry." I comforted my daughter in my arms. "What? A baby? I'm married now and have a child. There's no way I'd reunite with you. Not that I ever wanted to." My ex, frustrated things weren't going his way, kicked the flower bed by the front door and said, "This is a joke." I quickly went inside to keep my daughter safe. My ex tried to force his way in, but my father intervened. Then suddenly, my ex screamed in pain. "Ouch, Alex. That's my current husband. He came back from a night shift at just the right time." Alex twisted my ex's arm. "What are you doing? You, stop it. Let go. Let my son go. I'm calling the cops." "What? I am the police." "What? Kelly. Who are these people?" "They're my ex-in-laws. They suddenly showed up, tried to force a reconciliation, and then got angry and kicked the flower bed." "Well, you don't have to explain the details. This is definitely out of line. I'll call for backup." No. Soon after, a patrol car arrived, and my ex-in-laws were taken away. The neighbors watched like onlookers, and my ex-in-laws looked deeply embarrassed as they got into the patrol car. Turns out, they were fired from their jobs after being arrested. The reason they came to my parents' house was this. They had squandered Max's grandfather's inheritance and grandmother's pension on gambling and luxury. Now needing money for grandma's care, they thought they could intimidate me into giving them money from my parents. They underestimated me. Knowing I'm married to a police officer, they likely won't bother us ever again. As for how I ended up marrying a cop, I had become friends with a woman in her 50s in my night school days, and we kept in touch after graduation. After divorcing my ex, she suggested I meet her nephew, Alex. Alex and I hit it off and eventually married. Life is unpredictable. I never thought I'd find happiness through such connections. I plan to continue enjoying life with my husband, parents, and watching my daughter grow.